Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. On today's episode, we are going to talk with Micky Richards. She is the owner-operator of Sugar Lips Studio here in Atlanta and a licensed esthetician. Angela, what's on your mind today?
So I was just wondering, and I'm so excited to talk to our guest and learn all about her, what she's done, and hopefully get some pearls for all of our audience. And just first what's on my mind, just grateful to be here in the midst of all that's going on in the world right now. And hopefully by the time this airs, our sisters, brothers, friends, family in California will be at some peace and have some level of security by that time. But those are my prayers and my thoughts. But beyond that, a topic of interest, I think that you might be able to give us some light on, Sylvia, and I know Micky will, is what's a beauty secret that you have? And for me, I really don't have many secrets. I probably need some more secrets that I can write down.
True. Natural beauty.
I am that. I think water is one of my I would say a secret, but just something that I learned early on, and try my best to do that, just to hydrate. And I guess the only thing that came to mind in terms of a beauty secret that I learned, who knows when, but whatever you do to your face, do to your neck and your.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Learn that early.
I have to ask Micky about that. Okay.
And other than that, I need some secrets. I am that. This is shameful, but I'm that wash your face in the shower with Dove person when I don't have time. I know it's so bad.
I did not know that about you.
Oh yeah, I am better about moisturizing. But yeah, other than that, I need the secrets. I don't have a lot of secrets. How about you, Sylvia? You're already groaning.
I know we listen and we don't judge. We don't judge.
I judge. I do like a beauty routine, and but starting off with a good substrate. So when you talk about water, sleep is really critically important. Mm-hmm. And then just having really healthy skin that then you can put your concealer on and, all those other things. But before we dive too far into that rabbit hole, let's go ahead and welcome our guest, Micky Richards, to Boss Leap. Welcome, Micky.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So excited to have you.
Absolutely. So tell us, let's just go ahead and get on into it. Any beauty secrets that you have, or is there something that you wish that your clients knew that we're not doing?
Well, when it comes to the work that I do, I work with hair removal. So the biggest beauty secret is to maybe ditch those razors, especially for the areas that you plan to come in and get waxed with me, and also exfoliation. Yeah, and that could be a chemical or like a manual exfoliation. Those two.
Done that one before.
This pearls right off the bat.
But yeah. We're gonna go. What? We can also incorporate the hydration. Hydration is also like pretty key in like keeping your skin healthy.
Yeah. And you mean water? You don't mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, water.
Mm-hmm. Adult beverages, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are more dehydrating than hydrating.
Right.
True. So, Micky, I know you're a peach, or I consider you a peach, but tell us, where did you grow up and what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I moved here to the Atlanta area from Massachusetts, like a smaller town in Massachusetts. Springfield, Mass. Not a whole lot of people
Oh,
know
that's the
about it.
capital, right? No, Boston.
No, Boston's the capital.
Sorry.
Springfield is like
There's
in
a school.
Western Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I actually never even had a chance to go to Boston before we moved down south. And I grew up in Jonesboro, Georgia. So maybe about 20 minutes south of the city.
South Side. Did
Mhm.
not know that.
Oh,
Clayton
yeah.
County.
Clayco, yeah, Clayton County. So yeah, grew up down there. And then I'm sorry, what was the second half of the question?
Well, I'm not sure there was a second half, but
Oh,
I am curious from when you grew up in Massachusetts at an early age, did you know this is what you wanted to do in life? Did you have an idea of what you wanted to be?
well, when I after we moved down here and it was just my mom and her girls, so I just knew I needed to help out, right? So very early on, I just knew I just wanted to work. So I started off doing like I was hustling candy, and from there, okay, you start to get, income, insignificant income, but income at the time, right?
Yeah.
So that after that, I thought,
No income is insignificant.
right. I thought like, especially going through high school, I knew I wanted to be maybe like an accountant. So I took accounting classes in high school. I mean, they start off with the basics of like, just the debit and credit of a checking account and write all that out. So when I first started undergrad, that's what I was studying. I studied undergrad all the way through maybe my second or third year when I got my first like D in cost accounting. And from there, I switched over to marketing and still graduated with a bachelor's of business administration. And I actually ended up with a concentration in supply chain logistics. And I think that was just because of where I was. I thought that was I mean, it's still like a good career for someone. It just wasn't. Yeah.
And where were you?
I graduated from Clayton State University at that
Got
time.
it. Okay.
But from there, yeah, that's what I thought that I wanted to do. And then I transitioned to aesthetics thereafter, because I still had a hustle on the side where I was washing hair for my cousin who had a hair salon. At the hair salon, there was an esthetician and she was waxing, she was doing facials. And I decided to go back to school after that, like shortly after graduating from college, and here we are.
But Micky,
Wow.
how did you take the boss leap to know that supply chain is not for me?
Well, at the time, when I graduated in 2008, I want to say that was like during the recession or,
It was the
and
Great
I
Recession.
could not find a job. Yeah. So the job that I was able to secure was at an insurance company that my sister worked at, my older sister worked at. Um, they essentially hired me on the spot, just knowing that, I had a degree and they knew my sister. I had some good references and that was it.
She vouched for you.
Yeah, she
That's all
did.
they needed.
Yeah. So, yeah, just from doing that to then doing aesthetics and of course working for other people. After working for other people, I was like, I can do this. I can do this myself.
And so certainly it sounds like I can't tell you how many times I've told my kids, no matter what you want to do, a course in business is going to serve you well. But certainly it sounds like in your current business as an entrepreneur, having some business background puts you in just such a better position. Can you speak to that? Maybe what you think was most valuable about your business background, education wise, in what you're doing now?
Yeah, actually, like all of the smaller jobs that I had up until even becoming an esthetician, like a licensed esthetician, probably definitely contributed, especially just like keeping like a tidy like back office. So making sure that you are doing your taxes, making sure that you're keeping receipts, making sure that you are like the clerical stuff, making sure that you're calling and texting your clients back. Just having like good customer service skills, all of that I know contributed to like where I am today. Because I really do treat the business as if, yes, I'm an entrepreneur, but I have like 100 or 200 or 300 like mini bosses. And I'm okay in that particular role. Like I'm humble enough
Are
to
you
be
trying to
like,
say that I'm your mini boss as a
yeah,
client?
and I'm okay with
No,
that.
ma'am.
As if no, but if your mindset is just like, okay, I'm a boss and can't nobody tell me anything. I mean, so
Okay.
I can accept critical
Mhm.
criticism. I
Mhm.
can do all of that if it's gonna make my business better.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. So at this point in your life, what would you tell that younger esthetician or the, esthetician that's in training or wants to be one? What advice would you give her back then?
I would say just put in the work. You got to put in the work, even if you don't think that it's significant, like if you don't think it'll be significant later. So, all of the skills that we may have learned, like in esthetician school, I don't necessarily use them every day. But later down the line, like you'll figure out, all right, so like I wax. I don't have to worry about a whole lot of skin irritation, but when I do see it, now I know how to like correct it and then give some feedback to the client thereafter. And also like don't be afraid to like work for someone like for at least a few years prior to stepping out, leaping out, because you need to know like where to order things from, how to do client booking, just the flow of the business itself. You won't know that if you're just going from esthetician school straight into like your own business.
So what I'm hearing, it's valuable to have that experience. I think that's a common theme that's run throughout a
Absolutely.
lot of our episodes is learning from the experience, whether it's from experience in years, experience from mentors, people doing what you want to do, learning that and just really appreciating the value in that before you step out on your own.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because they've already done some of the hard work, or a lot of the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even look back, when I was working for someone and thinking, man, she's crazy, like why would she do that? Why would she do it that way? And now that I'm in that position, I'm like, all right, I guess you got to be a little crazy. Just a little bit.
A tinge.
Yeah.
And Micky, you talk about realizing that hard work and consistency, and I'm reading from your bio because I don't want to mess it up. Hard work and consistency allowed me freedom and the ability to make my own money. Can you share with our audience what you mean by that?
Yeah, so literally just, showing up, I rarely, even though you yourself have told me I need to take some time off, but like I rarely take any time off. And it's because like I know that if I show up, then everyone else will do what they're supposed to do. And through that, you have built like a clientele. The people around you respect you as a business person, and they'll continue to send clients. Ergo, you'll have money in the bank. Then I can do whatever I want to do on the other side of it. So yeah, just keeping consistent, not just letting off just because I don't know, it's my birthday. I don't want to come to work today, or it's my birthday. I don't want to reply to emails. Like I don't like that mindset. And then you can't go on the other side of it and then complain that, well, I don't have what I want in life, but you haven't put in the work prior to.
Very good.
Mhm.
You've got to put the work in,
Yeah.
to get the results. And
Mhm.
that's so important in particularly in your industry, a service type of industry. And I don't know that younger women get that because of what we see largely in media and even social media is there's just instant gratification. And what you're saying is that no, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that went into you getting to where you are. And it's not just the work that went into it, it's the continuous work that you're doing to make your business successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So I have a personal question, but just as a mother of daughters and in general, what age do you recommend? So, women of color, which I deal with in the office often, as OBGYN, is, young women coming in complaining of hair growth, and they think that there's something wrong. And really, most of the time there's not something hormonal. It's just, our ethnicity, and women of all color just tend to have more hair growth, and sometimes more on their face and other areas. But at what age do you recommend, or at what point in life do you recommend somebody coming in to have your services?
I would say the youngest that I think I've ever serviced is maybe like a 13 or 14-year-old.
Mhm.
And that's, if they're, on a gymnastics team, or they're a swimmer or something like that.
Okay.
And their mothers don't want them to necessarily start off with a razor. So it really just depends on the client. But as young as 13 or 14. And, we'll do things like an underarm. Sometimes I've done like a lip, a light eyebrow cleanup, very light.
Mhm.
And we've done legs, like a half leg, you just, whatever's gonna make them feel most comfortable about everything that's changing in their body, but also
Mhm.
like sets up a routine, where they can continue it even through college and of course afterwards.
Have you had to kind of draw the line, because there's a lot of pressure on women, girls, to look a certain way, and the pressure of beauty? Have you said to clients or potential mothers, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this, or your child is X, or how do you navigate that?
When it comes to something maybe like a bikini wax or something like that, then I usually will kind of steer them away from it if they're like, especially under the age of 16. I'll give them alternatives. So even though I don't want you to necessarily use a razor, I can say, well, how about just a trimmer with a guard? So you're not going to touch the skin with the razor, right? I would rather you do that. Or if it comes to like a lip wax, I always say, well, does it bother you? Of course, it's more money in my pocket, but if it doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it. Like, don't start that off right now. Sometimes it's not always about the money. It's really about like your confidence and just being able to be okay with yourself.
Such great advice. And as an OBGYN, that's
All right.
sometimes it's the moms, a lot of times it's the mothers that are more bothered by the hair growth. And I can get into more details, but a lot of times it's the mom. But it's important to ask, the girl, and for women in general, does it bother you? It doesn't really matter that other people are doing it. Does it bother you? Because if it doesn't bother you, you don't have to follow some norm, because in reality, the hair is there for a reason. But if you don't want it there, then that's perfectly fine. But it does serve a purpose. It's not like you are more hygienic if you remove that hair. So I think that's a valuable piece of information you just shared. Appreciate that.
And Micky, as the proprietor and owner of Sugar Lip Studio, what advice do you have for women in particular who are getting started on their own entrepreneurial journey?
Well, just to, I guess, kind of repeat what I said earlier, just make sure that you have some experience. You don't want to just leap out there with nothing. At least like knowing, at least knowing like, where to buy your products from, where definitely have some experience even working with clients. Uh, I went from, maybe doing about 20 to 30 clients a day. But if I didn't have that volume, or not 30, about 20 clients a day, if I didn't have that volume of back-to-back services, I wouldn't know that now on the other side of it, when I don't have to work as hard, but just the pace of the day. So really just getting the experience. And if that means you have to just kind of hunker down and work for someone, I think that's best. And then also just continuing your education. So after you've gotten your aesthetics license, the beauty industry is just so wide. There's so much that you can learn. So don't just stay with just your license. Get some extra certifications
And can you
along
tell
the
us
way.
what that was like? how long did it take you to get your aesthetics license, and what was the process like?
So because I was working full time and going at night and like
Mhm.
weekends, it took me about a year and a half. So it's the state of Georgia requires you to do about 1,000 hours of on-site training, but then also perform 1,000 services. So yeah, it took me
That's a lot.
about, yeah,
Mhm.
I
It's
know.
good to know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in other states it's a lot less, maybe like 600 hours, but 1,000
Mm.
hours in order to become an esthetician. And then of course you take like a state test, you take like a practical and then like a written exam.
Mhm.
But if you don't go at night, then I think it takes about 6 to 8 months.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you're just going full time every day.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And you
Go
have
ahead.
worked in multiple different places. So how do you know to take kind of the boss leap from one opportunity to the next? And then also, can you share with us, when did you know, hey, it's time for me to go out on my own? And then I know you moved kind of from a suite situation to having your own, am I building or what? Yeah.
Yeah, storefront. Yep. So going from the first place that I started working, which is where I met you, going from there, well, even getting that particular job, I when I was in school, there was a woman who on the side, or I'm sorry, a teacher who on the side, she waxed. She saw my interest in waxing, so when it was time to get a job thereafter, she really put in a good word for me and then trained me even more once I got to the first place that I started working. Then to go to like, I ended up going to a second facility not too long after, maybe like 2 years after. And going from the first one to the second one, the first one I learned like just the beauty of like a space and taking on different types of clients. I had only really worked in like Black communities, and the first place that I worked was in the middle of Inman Park. And yeah, just working with different backgrounds and seeing clients of different ethnicities was, I mean, just eye-opening. So then going from there to another place that was not too far away in Virginia Highlands. I was there for a little bit. And what made me make that leap is I just didn't like the way that they were necessarily doing business when it came to me. I felt like I was I showed up to work every day. Same thing that I mentioned earlier. I showed up every day. I almost treated all of my clientele like like I had my own business within the business. Would continue to get referrals and so
Mhm. Mhm.
I just didn't like, yeah, the way that I was treated. I kind of felt like it turned into almost like a cult-like environment. And it was, yeah, kind of toxic. So I decided that, you know what, I can do this. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever made. I remember like crying in the shower one day, like when I said, I just can't take this. Like this is not what I signed up for. And heard about like the whole salon suite life, which um gives you the ability to step out on your own, but without like the huge burden of overhead. Did that. And I did that for about 7 years, and every year it just continued to grow.
Was it 7 years? Really?
I was seven
I
years
did
inside the
not
salon suite.
know that.
I know
Mm.
like time passed so
It
Wow.
quickly.
does.
Even so it wasn't until like right after the pandemic when I still actually did pretty well during the pandemic, or at
We
least
had to get our brows and
you're
our
right.
waxing.
Mask on, mask
Mask
on,
off.
Exactly. I'm
use
still
some hand
wearing my mask, but I'm
sanitizer. Yeah.
coming.
So right. And when I was there, it was also good to just see other entrepreneurs, right?
Mhm.
Everyone else inside this 33, I want to say it was 33 suites. They all had the same idea. I want to work for myself, but I'm gonna start off small.
Yeah.
So I did that for 7 years, and then transitioning to a larger storefront. So from about 100 square feet to now, I want to say it's about 1,200 square feet space.
Mhm.
That one, I just said, you know what, it's time. It is time. I want to see what it's like to have more than one room. I want to see,
Sugar Lip Studio
yeah, the
in
actual
Grant
studio.
Park.
Yes,
Beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful space. Gotta
Thank
get that
you.
in
So,
there.
And
so Mickey, so I just need to interrupt you, but so you're going from a suite and there's 33, entrepreneurs in that suite, but you have made the leap and you stepped out on your own. What's the difference? There's a difference. I mean, there's something in you or something that someone instilled in you that gave you that wherewithal to say, I can do this and I can do it, on my own. What do you think that was? What do you think the difference is?
I needed to challenge myself. Yeah, I needed to challenge myself. I I'd done it, for 7 years. I
Mhm.
always had like an ongoing wait list, and I felt like, okay, I'm missing out if I
Mhm.
don't at least step out. Like I've worked in places where it was multi-room, so why can't I do it? If they have done it, why can't I do it? So that's exactly what I did. So it's 3 rooms. So I went from 1 room, of course. And now it's 3 rooms plus an eyebrow area, plus a waiting room, plus
Mhm.
a reception area, plus a bathroom, plus a break room slash storage area. So I felt like it was just time. It was time.
And there's parking.
And
It's
there's
easy to
parking.
get to.
That's nice.
Mhm.
In
Sugar
Atlanta,
Lip
that's key.
Studio and Grant Park.
Yep.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
definitely we
and
will
all those
have it
things.
in
Yeah,
the
when
show
I
notes.
stepped out, I said it has to have all of them. I remember making a list and giving it to the realtor and just saying like, I have to have all of these.
These things.
And she might have shown me, I think it was 2, and this one had everything. And thankfully most of the walls were already up. I didn't have to. The only thing I had to do was just make it pretty, clean it up, make it pretty, and yeah, tell the clients go ahead and start booking and
And
then get,
that
of
we
course,
do.
staff and there as well.
Can you tell us about anyone in your life that you feel has been important in along this journey to either inspire you or lift you up to get you where you are? There may be more than one.
Yeah, I would say primarily just my mom. She is I mean, to this day, like she inspires all of us. I think I was telling Sylvia about
Yeah.
I mean, she was a wild child, okay, growing up, but she's always just managed a way for all of us to just keep going, to be inspired. So I'm one of 5 girls, and she had us, we're all kind of stair-step kids. Starting at the age 18, she just had all of us, and then the baby came maybe about 7 years after the 4th child. But we always knew that it was us. Like she never wanted to make us feel any different from one another. She just generally is just a kind person. She's just a kind person. And for most of her life, all of her life, she had always been like an LPN. So this uh, more recently, she inspired us to just, again, keep going. So she had always been an LPN, and being an LPN with 5 kids, I don't know.
I don't know how she did it.
Did
So a
it.
licensed practical nurse.
So, and she had always gone back and forth between like wanting to get her RN license. And because she had been an LPN for so long, she just said, this year is the year that I'm going to do it. So just this past year, she did what she needed to do. She found a school that she could do essentially like part-time. It was in Florida. Of course, we live here. So that woman was hopping on a flight like at least
Okay.
once a month to
All
go
right,
down
Mom.
there to do her classes and
Yes.
then come
Mhm.
back and of course work.
Those
And
are boss moves.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that is what she did. So she now has her RN license.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Mhm. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, all
congratulations,
while
Mom.
managing, like my grandmother lives with her. So she, pulled everyone together. Hey, I
Hmm.
have to go down to Florida during this time. So she made all of the family come in and like you choose a day. If she has an
Hmm.
appointment, y'all, somebody has to step in. Like we
Nice.
formed a community for her because she was able to
Hmm.
take care of us for so long.
Wow.
That is
She said
fantastic.
what
So,
she
kind
needed
of
that time.
along those lines, Mickey, certainly your mom and your sisters, you all are a really tight unit and an
Mhm.
example of women supporting women. How can women support other women better? And then, in particular, I'm thinking about kind of intergenerational. Angela and I are in our 50s, you're in your 30s. How can we better support each other?
I think just doing things like this, even I would have, I mean, when you told me that you were doing the podcast and eventually you would ask me, I was kind of intimidated by it, but this is just a way for me to, of course, get myself and my business out more. And then
And you're a natural anyway. So,
Yeah.
oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah.
But just doing things like this, promoting one another,
Hmm.
amongst me and my friends. Like I have a friend who, her and her mom own a restaurant, that's not too far away. So, I've promoted her even on my own like personal page, just
Hmm.
really just telling each other to just support each other.
Yeah.
Whether it's through a social media post or actually just going to their
mhm.
place of business. Um,
Showing up.
yep, showing up. Yep.
Very good. Wow.
So, Mickey, I know you are a big traveler. And so, are there you have a favorite destination? Is there some place kind of coming up on your list of places to go?
So you and I have discussed this. Lagos, Nigeria is it
Gotcha.
was probably one of
One
my most
time. That's
favorite
amazing.
locations to travel to.
Yes.
One, just seeing so many Black people in one space
Mhm.
and not being the minority in
Hmm.
Mhm.
your own, where you live. Nice. And also seeing Black people with money.
Ex-
Money isn't
Wealth
everything.
beyond
Yes.
comprehension.
Seeing Black families getting on and off of private jets and like that is just it's a normal thing. I mean, not everyone has it, but just to see it
Sure.
more than you see it here. And then as far as like coming up, so I'm turning 40 this year. So
Yay! 40s are
Yeah.
great. I'm
Beautiful
telling you,
year.
yeah,
Yes.
enjoy it,
yeah.
embrace
So
it.
Yeah.
yeah, so 40. So I'm thinking of going to Greece. I've never had any thoughts about
Oh,
going to
great.
any sort of like European country.
Hmm.
However, Greece is on the list of Santorini area, maybe. Is
Number
a visa
one.
in Greece? I don't, I'm terrible with
Visa.
geography.
Visa.
Yeah,
Spain,
yeah,
but yeah, that'd be a good place to go too.
yeah. So yeah, just those for the 40th.
Ah, Santorini's number one on mine. Greece,
Mhm.
but I have so many. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what advice do you have to women that may not have traveled? And in terms of getting out there, do you have any specific advice? Have you ever solo traveled? Do you prefer to travel with a group? And how do you determine that?
I've definitely solo traveled. I enjoy it because
Yes, me too.
I like to move at my own pace. I mean, it
Mhm.
is like when I have done girls trips, they're fun. They are fun. I
Mhm.
usually will like travel with my sister plus a couple of our friends,
Mhm.
and me and my sister always revert to, us at 10 years old, and we're just, yeah, just yapping and having a small argument, and then we get back
Mhm.
to, we're
Mhm.
we're back best friends, of course, thereafter. But no, solo travel is great. More recently, I've found that like between YouTube and TikTok are great sources for finding
Mhm.
like solo destinations for women traveling. Like you just you I always go to like super safe places. If it's a little more expensive, hey, it's well worth it for your safety. And just keeping your head on the swivel once you do get there. But yeah, solo travel is great. I actually did a solo trip to, where was it? Costa Rica. Yeah. And it was beautiful, just beautiful. And there was one day where I don't think I even left my room. I think they had on some American TV and I was watching some Criminal Minds, but like that was my way of just relaxing with a
It's
beautiful
your vacation.
view in the background. But
Yes.
yeah.
I am a big fan of that, and give me some room service. I'm
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I'm really good. So, Micky, certainly you are a guru when it comes to kind of wellness and self-care, but how do you practice self-care?
So because I am in the industry and I grew up with sisters, I tend to do everything myself. However, I do splurge when it comes to like getting my nails done, or I'll get a massage as well every so often. And that's mainly from, of course, like standing, and just the type of work that I do. I don't have to like squeeze in some time for a good massage.
Massages are great.
And I'll do it on days like today where I typically take off like a Sunday or a Monday. And then,
Yay.
yeah,
I'm a proponent of days off, so wonderful.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
I know you get tired of me because I'm always like, have you planned your vacation?
Right.
What are you doing
No,
for
no.
birthday, the
It's
holiday?
it's good and welcome reminders that I do need to take some time to myself. Yeah.
And so do you have any, I know you've made it this far in your career. Do you at this point have any ideas of what this will look like for you 5, 10 years down the road? Any aspirations?
Well, I know that I'll still have the business for sure. I probably won't be working at the same capacity, where I'm working, every day, for hours on end, but it'll probably be more towards like the teaching side of it.
You'd be
More.
excellent.
So I do it from time to time. If there's estheticians who are straight out of school who need just advanced training in the waxing department or the sugaring department. Simply because like when you're in school, even though we would have had to do all of those hours of training, in order to get really good at any one of them, you need additional training. So definitely doing that more. But because I'm in the industry of hair removal, like hair grows. Everyone's hair, it grows. I'm going to be employed for a while. I'll be, that's the best thing about what I do. Hair continues to grow, even with, lasers or, even with lasers. I've had clients that I've seen for years. They decide to stop waxing. They go to lasers and their hair grows back, even though they spent, thousands of more dollars than they would have if they just continued to wax. And I see them again,
So I have a follow-up question for you, and what you do is fascinating to me, and very pertinent because I've got two daughters, and I just recently had heard about sugaring, so buried my head buried in the sand. But my youngest was like, "Oh yeah, mom, it's I love it. It's nicer, it's easy, whatever." Can you tell us the difference for our audience who may not be aware, the difference between waxing and sugaring?
The biggest difference is the way it's applied and removed. So everyone is very familiar with how wax is applied. It's a thinner, warm layer of wax that's applied in the direction of the hair growth. And then typically you use like a piece of muslin or pellin to remove it in the opposite way. However, with sugar, it's a paste that is literally made out of sugar, water, and lemon. And there's a woman that I used to work for, and her whole shtick would be to get the sugar paste and lick it because it is literally just sugar, water, and lemon. So when you are applying it, it's a thicker consistency that you are applying with your hand and not with a stick, and you're applying it against the grain of the hair growth, right? As you're working it in against the hair growth, it itself like kind of seeps into the pores to help loosen up the hair follicle and then you essentially do like a flicking action in the same direction as the hair growth, and that action pulls out the hair. So you do that kind of quickly. You just move, you can use that same ball of sugar really for like an entire area. You can use it for an entire underarm or bikini or like your legs. And then once it gets too tough, you toss it out. And then you get like another handful.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people like it because it is all natural. I never sell it on the paint aspect. However, there are some clients who prefer it over the traditional wax. And then some people like it because it doesn't have to be as warm as sometimes wax is. Yeah.
She essentially said the things in terms of it being an easier experience. Thank you. Yeah.
Of course.
Wow, Micky Richards, thank you so much. You have shared so many pearls with our listeners, and we want to encourage everyone to seek you out at Sugar Lip Studio in Grant Park. Thank you for sharing your journey with us today on Boss Leap. And where can our listeners find you on social media or your website? What information would you like to share?
Yeah, so just directly on our website, sugarlipstudio.com has all of the necessary links. You got your booking link there. There's even Google review page there, so you can see all of our great reviews.
5 stars, all
Yeah,
5 stars.
Yeah, all 5 stars. We do have social medias. We have Instagram, and it's just Sugar Lip Studio. And then our Facebook as well is Sugar Lip Studio Atlanta. But yeah, you can find ways to book directly on any of those, honestly, or just calling directly. I'm very responsive. I'm so glued to my phone all of the time because I want to make sure to get in as many people as possible, and yeah, just take care of everyone.
Yeah. As a good business owner would be. You're so beautiful, but
Oh,
it's beautiful to have you
thank
on
you.
the show. So thank you so much. Look forward to being at Sugar Lip Studio.
You know where I am.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And until we meet again, may you be well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, y'all.
May you be well.
Thank you.
So Sylvia, I thought that interview with Micky was just fantastic. She is beautiful, like I said, outside, beautiful inside, and just beautiful work life experience that she was able to give us. I thought she has made many boss leaps that exemplify what we're trying to show and shine a light on, from getting her business degree, esthetician license, working in the industry and getting experience and guidance, from those that she learned from, whether it was, good things and bad things, and taking that to leap into her own business in a studio. And then from there, realizing she still had a lot more potential and expanding into her own storefront business, Sugar Lips. So lots of boss leaps that she's had. And I think the pearls that I would take away from this episode would be one, just, in order to be a good, I guess, friend or support another sister, is just showing up for that person, right?
That's my favorite thing that people do. Show up for me.
Show up for me. If I'm doing something, I'm having something, I'm talking about something, or I'm just somebody in need, just show up. If you can be there for me, be there, whether you're just sending me a message, whether you're calling me. But if I've got a business, come, patronize my business. If I have a talk, come and show up and listen to that. But showing up is a lot more than, ironic lip service. So that, and I think using our community. So we have these communities, wonderful people in our lives, and not being afraid to lean on them in, when you need them. And asking for help if you need the help. That's one thing. And then, of course, lastly, her travel bug, her love for travel. So I'm a kindred spirit in that regard, and enjoying traveling solo. So I think I learned a lot. Loved what she had to say and learned the difference between sugaring and and waxing. But
Who
at
knew?
any rate, great interview, and I loved it. And Sylvia, I will leave it to you to give us what you had.
Yeah. So Micky Richards of Sugar Lip Studios here in Grant Park, Atlanta, provided us with so many gems. Micky Richards talked about if I show up and I'm consistent, then I can achieve. And I think the other thing, Jim, that's really important to remember that it's not always about the money. Sometimes we have to make decisions that are in the best interest of our clients and also in the best interest of our long-term goals. So Micky Richards of Sugar Lip Studios has been making some boss leaps, and we were thankful for having her on our show. We want everyone to know that thank you so much for listening, liking, subscribing, and following. And we want you to continue to do that. Please share Boss Leap Podcasts with your friends.
And to our audience, until we meet again, may you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. You know, it's the legal language. And you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.